Good evening. If you would like to listen to a 39-year-old grown adult drone on for about 10 minutes, possibly more, because I love these, about the classic, where it all started. It started before, but this is not a history lesson. I'm here to talk about the Lightning TRS. So I made that video where I skated them, and I have to say, I'm incredibly impressed with this skate, and I'll also say you owe it to yourself. If you enjoy rollerblading and tech and gear, all that stuff, you have to skate these at least once in your life to help root your own personal preferences for a skate. Now, these weren't my first pair of skates I ever had. There's other videos and stories that I've told about that. But my Tarmacs were my first pair of aggressive skates, which was this boot. My second and third pair of aggressive skates were the M12s, which I found out was this boot in this exact same size. Because these are listed 9.5, but these are actually the 10. This is exactly the same boot as a 10 Majestic 12. So when I put these on and started skating around, they felt like home in a way that's hard to describe. The shell shape, the look down's still incredible. The shell shape for my foot, I have kind of like a, it's a 27.5 foot, I've said before. It's kind of long and thinner. The look down's incredible. The skate looks incredible in the footage, which I wasn't expecting. It looks timeless and classic. The plastic is nice and soft and somehow held up. This reminds me of kind of like the 909, how it has that flexy feel right here. Nothing broke on them. These wheels and bearings, so like I said, these have gone on multiple trips. Dallas skated them for, I think, 2 different times. In the rain and in the wet, they've been in a river. Somehow these wheels and bearings are holding up incredibly. They were fast, see, it's kind of noisy. I'm led to believe that, is skate quality better? I don't know. It's a freak thing that still confuses me. Just how good these wheels are. I was doing all the slides and everything. Both of them, there's my main slide side, and they're 78A? Kryptonics 70mm 78A. The wheels were amazing, the bearings were amazing, the fit was good. The only 2 things I changed was I put in hockey laces and the Intuition liner. The high cuff felt weird at first, but I got used to it. But it makes sense why Volo, and yeah, it was Volo that first trimmed it down. It's a more modern cuff height is kind of like this. What's funny is that everybody thought the Intuition liners were tall, but when you look at how high the back of the skate went, gives you an idea of tall is just relative to what we expect on aggressive skates. Sole grinds felt incredible in these skates, and it reminded me of why I have a preference of a small sole that's as close as possible to your foot. It felt like it's the closest thing I felt to like having a bare foot sliding along a curb. And now it makes so much sense why the Throne design or the Rems design is I never skated Thrones, but Rems was inspired just to have a heel to keep this as close as possible to how it felt on a Lightning, to keep just a piece here but nothing too thick, and then a big fat heel that comes out, because the natural sole grind position, at least for me, if you pretend to do a sole grind in your bare feet, your heel naturally lifts up, if that makes sense. So it makes sense to be kind of pushing on this part of the skate and having your heel lifted, but then the plastic coming lower and supporting the whole thing. That's why I think the 908 and 909 soles just need a little bit of work in the heel area. If they were more throne or Rems inspired. I'm too excited right now. They would be a lot better. I could do front sides and back sides on that curb. Just could have been a hot day. I did Mizus, all of like the wizardy type stuff. They felt like there's a thing if you skate wizards or longer rockered frames, that there's kind of a steeze and confidence and personal style that comes through because you have a longer base. Especially in the 5 wheel and the newer 6 wheel, there's more lean back and lean forward, so you can style your tricks, like the rolling wizardy type tricks, a lot better. So that was the one drawback, is that I like you see it in aggressive skating and you see it on short frames, is like there's almost like a forced balance, center of balance, where you have to keep it within this frame. That was only one drawback, but like I was able to, it was so cool to take all of the knowledge, all of the weird little skills that I learned in the past 25 years, 30 years, and go back to the original and do all that stuff. And then I love these skates so much that it's changing how I think about other skates. My first thought was I want to get Impalas and try them next. But then I realized there was that Rose's 1992 boot, so I'd rather support Rose's than Impala. Eventually I'll have to try the Impala just to see what they're selling to people. I can't imagine the wheels being as good, or that cult shell fit being as good. But it's so weird how I thought it was just going to be a novel thing to skate these. But like I said, I had more, like in terms of connecting to the spirit and feel of skating, I had more fun in these than I did in the Aeons. And it reminds me of like, so my least favorite skates, Jados, Aeons, SLs, they're all like skates that have a lot of plastic, that make people grind better and be able to do all the grinds. And then I realized this is not a grinding skate. You can do grinds in it, but this is like an ice skate made for the streets. It's like the original street skate. I always thought that rollerblades should have been called street skates over rollerblades or inline skates. Street skate is just such a cooler name, and this is where it all started. The ride height is really good. It's hard, like I would have to do some kind of a diagram to show when you put a sole plate how much further the wheels are, but everything felt really good close to the foot. The biggest thing of all, I couldn't figure out, like, why does this skate feel amazing? So I found out it was because I have so much experience with the 10 Roses shell, which is this exact shell. But it was this. It was all these rivets. 4 rivets in the back, 6 rivets in the front. If you look at like a hockey skate, I think it has 12, or I'd have to look at a picture. I made a joke once, I made a post about like, on aggressive skates, we have just a giant slab of plastic, which is the sole plate, attached to more plastic with just 2 bolts holding it. And there's just sloppy messes in terms of feel for skate, and feel of a skate is really important. So to know that you have 6 rivets holding this in the back and 4 in the front, you could really feel it. There's like, Trinity mount, UFS, Adaptas Quattro. This is 10 mount technology, and it holds up. Amazing. I can see why CDS Detroit, like just this boot with the heel plate edition, just a squared off heel, why it worked great. This reminds me that skates can be simple, and why I love the M12/V13 and the 909 and the 908. Skates don't have to be complicated at all. You can upgrade the frames, liners, wheels, laces, but the actual shell, as long as you get a good fit and the feel is right, there's a lot you can do. I wish more skates had stuff mounted like this. See, the only thing that Aeon has working for it, in my opinion, is that the frame is mounted to the sole, which is mounted to the boot, but the feel's off in terms of, but the responsiveness is there in terms of this feel. I want to skate these more for MB8. Love it. I'm not sure what year these are from, but I can see why Impalas are selling well. Impala was so smart to take this and bring it back. And it's really sad that it took Impala to do it, to make Roses. You know that like Impala made companies rethink how they should be thinking of skating. So it's awesome to see that Roses got inspired by Impala to make one of these. So if you can't find a set of original Lightnings in your size, there's a lot of them. They're floating around. Buy them if you find them at a thrift store. Skate them. Everybody should skate these at least once. And if you can't find those, get those Roses 1992. I think I'm gonna get a pair to skate. Also, 70mm wheels. We might have to make some. It would be so sick if people could replace their wheels on their Impalas with mushroom blading wheels instead of Impala wheels. You know? And if 70mm wheels existed, they'd be amazing outer wish frame wheels, because then you get a nice rocker with 60s in the middle. That's all I have to say about this for now, but I just have to say, completely impressed by this skate. Want to skate it more, which is always a good sign. And as a nerd about skate stuff, it was really important to remember where all of this came from and started. Keep skating or something.